Ranavalona III, the last queen of Madagascar, stands as a poignant symbol of the island's struggle against European colonization. Born Razafindraheti to the influential Merina ethnic group, she ascended to the throne at the tender age of 22, following the death of her predecessor, Queen Ranavalona II. Her reign was marked by the looming shadow of European colonial interests, particularly from France. Despite these challenges, she displayed a fierce determination to modernize her homeland and preserve its independence. This was a period of transition for Madagascar, a shift from traditional rule to the stifling grip of European colonial domination. Yet, Ranavalona III's resolve never wavered. She resisted the French occupation with all her might. But in the end, Madagascar fell under the colonial yoke. The queen's reign was cut short, but her story didn't end there. Born in the heart of Madagascar, she was destined to leave an indelible mark on her nation's history. Born Razafindraheti, Ranavalona III hailed from the influential Merina ethnic group. In the heart of Antananarivo, Madagascar, on November 22, 1861, a baby girl named Razafindraheti was born. Little did anyone know that this child belonging to the Merina ethnic group would grow up to be the last queen of Madagascar. The Merina people, deeply rooted in the country's political and societal fabric, were known for their influence and power, a legacy that Razafindraheti would carry into her reign. As a child, she was nurtured in an environment that teemed with political discourse and societal norms. These early experiences, no doubt, shaped and prepared her for the unexpected role destiny had in store. The year 1883 marked a turning point in Razafindraheti's life. Following the death of Queen Ranavalona II, the throne of Madagascar was left vacant. Amidst the sorrow and uncertainty, a decision had to be made. Who would ascend the throne? The answer was found in a young woman of just 22 years, Razafindraheti. She was chosen to succeed the late queen, an honor and responsibility that can be overwhelming even for the most seasoned leaders. Yet, she took it in stride, stepping into the role with a grace and determination that belied her tender age. Her coronation was a momentous occasion. The young queen, standing tall and resolute, accepted the crown. The moment she was christened Ranavalona III, the air was filled with a sense of hope and anticipation. The people of Madagascar, witnessing the dawn of a new era, placed their trust in their young queen. With the weight of a nation on her young shoulders, Queen Ranavalona III was poised to face the impending challenges. From that moment on, Queen Ranavalona III began her reign, ready to navigate the tumultuous waters of leadership, politics, and the looming threat of European colonial interests. As we delve deeper into her reign in the next scenes, we'll see how she sought to modernize Madagascar, maintain its independence, and face the challenges that lay ahead. The reign of Ranavalona III was marked by significant challenges, with European colonial interests looming large. The young queen found herself steering the ship of state in increasingly turbulent waters. The colonial era was at its height, and Madagascar, with its strategic location and abundant resources, was a tempting prize for European powers. Ranavalona III was not one to sit back and watch her beloved country fall into foreign hands. She was determined to keep Madagascar independent and took strides to modernize it. She pursued reforms to strengthen the economy, bolster the military, and improve the infrastructure. Education was also a priority, with the aim of creating a literate and informed citizenry capable of defending their nation's interests. But the Queen's efforts were not merely focused inward. She worked tirelessly on the diplomatic front, reaching out to other nations, seeking alliances, and striving to keep Madagascar on the world stage as a sovereign state. She walked a delicate tightrope, balancing the modernization of her country with the preservation of its unique cultural heritage. However, the winds of change were blowing hard. The colonial powers of the time, particularly France, were relentless in their pursuit of expansion. The French saw Madagascar as a jewel to be added to their colonial crown, and they were prepared to do whatever it took to secure it. Ranavalona III, ever the diplomat, sought to negotiate. She proposed treaties and agreements, hoping to stave off the inevitable, but the French were not interested in negotiation. They wanted control, and they were willing to use force to achieve it. In the face of such overwhelming odds, Ranavalona III remained resolute. She rallied her people, inspired them with her courage, and led them in resistance against the encroaching colonial tide. But the forces arrayed against her were too great. Despite her best efforts, the tides of history were turning against her. This marked the beginning of a new chapter in the life of Ranavalona III, a chapter filled with struggle, resilience, and an unbending spirit of defiance. In 1895, the storm finally broke and French forces invaded Madagascar. This marked the beginning of a tumultuous period in Madagascar's history, the Franco-Hova War. The conflict was a brutal display of colonial power, with the French forces proving to be a formidable adversary. Ranavalona III, the last queen of Madagascar, found herself in the middle of this storm. Despite her youth and inexperience, she was not one to step down without a fight. She rallied her people, instilling in them a sense of unity and determination. But the French forces were relentless, and the Malagasy resistance, though valiant, was overwhelmed by the sheer might of the colonial power. This was not just a war of weapons, but a war of wills. The queen knew that surrendering to the French would not only mean the end of her reign, but also the end of Madagascar's independence. Yet, faced with the overwhelming might of the French forces, Ranavalona III was left with no choice. In a move that would alter the course of Madagascar's history, she was forced to sign a treaty that placed Madagascar under French protection. This was not a decision taken lightly. It was a painful concession, born out of the need to protect her people from further bloodshed, yet it was also a decision that marked the end of an era. With the signing of the treaty, the French officially took control of Madagascar. The Queen's palace was no longer her own, her power was stripped away, and the proud island nation was reduced to a mere protectorate of France. The colonial forces celebrated their victory, but for the Malagasy people, it was a time of mourning. With the signing of the treaty, the era of Madagascar's independence came to a bitter end. This marked the fall of a queen, the fall of a nation, and the beginning of a long period of struggle against French occupation. Despite the hardship, the spirit of Ranavalona III, her courage and resilience, would continue to inspire the Malagasy people in the years to come. After the French takeover, Ranavalona III found herself exiled, first to Reunion Island and later to Algiers. A queen without a throne, she was now a subject of the very empire that had usurped her kingdom. Yet even in exile, the spirit of this resilient queen remained unbroken. Exile, however, did not equate to an end, but rather a new beginning. The first stop in this new chapter of her life was the island of Reunion. A speck of land in the vast Indian Ocean, Reunion was far removed from the political turmoil that had marked her reign in Madagascar. Yet the island was only a temporary home for the queen. The next stop in her journey was Algiers, the capital city of Algeria. Here, in a land so different from her own, Ranavalona III began to carve out a life for herself. This new life was a far cry from the pomp and ceremony that had defined her reign. It was a life marked by quietude and simplicity, a stark contrast to the tumultuous years of her reign. Life in Algiers was not without its challenges. The language was different, the culture was foreign, and she was thousands of miles away from her homeland. Yet, Ranavalona III rose to the occasion. She adapted to her new surroundings, learned the local language, and even embraced the local culture. Despite the distance, she never forgot her homeland. She kept abreast of the happenings in Madagascar and maintained correspondence with her subjects back home. In this way, she remained connected to her past, even as she built a new life in a foreign land. In her later years, she lived a relatively quiet life. She withdrew from the public eye and lived out her days in relative obscurity. Yet even in her solitude, she held on to her dignity and grace. She was a queen in exile, yes, but she remained a queen nonetheless. In the quietude of exile, the last queen of Madagascar lived out her days. Her reign may have ended, but her legacy lived on, a testament to her indomitable spirit and her enduring love for her homeland. Ranavalona III's legacy is deeply intertwined with the history of Madagascar. Born as Ranavalona, she ascended to the throne at the tender age of 22, taking on the mantle of a nation as Queen Ranavalona III. Her reign, while marked by numerous challenges, stands as a testament to her resilience and determination. She faced the tide of growing European colonial interests, particularly from France, with a steadfast resolve. Despite the pressures, she sought to modernize Madagascar while preserving its independence and cultural heritage. However, the Franco-Hova War led to French occupation, marking a pivotal period in Madagascar's history, a transition from traditional rule to European colonial domination. Exiled and distanced from her homeland, she lived a quiet life in Algeria, away from the political turmoil of Madagascar. Yet, she is remembered with respect and reverence. Ranavalona III, the last queen of Madagascar, remains a potent symbol of resistance and resilience in the face of overwhelming odds.